Inside the shadow of Geneva, under the world's floor, lies a shock of human creativity and a normal harbinger of decimation. The Beast Hadron Collider. It is a manual of canny evaluation, permitting specialists to dissect the subatomic in general and prompting the disclosure of the secret of God particle, a Higgs boson. Right now, as now-famous physicist Brian Cox has made a chilling declaration that sent wonder waves all through the religious local area. Something centering has been explored at CERN, something that might have accomplished expanded ways beyond our comprehension. Has our essential objective for edifying educational assortment set us on a crash course with disaster, obliging us as we jump into the pit of this clear problem? Yet sooner than we bounce into the assertion data, what sizable atom gas pedals the colossal Hadron Collider? LHC, worked by utilizing CERN, is a 17M ring of superconducting magnets and the field's generally important and generally ridiculous solid atom smasher. It keeps an eye on the apex of human sensible achievement. The truth of the circumstance is so solid that it can repeat the genuine conditions of the universe's creation to the world. Yet should this design intend to open the insider assessments of the universe? Stay mindful of the way to something plainly more extensive. Alarming CERN, laid out in 1954, is one of the world's most imperative, eminent assessment associations with 23 fragment states and an enormous, wide gathering of specialists. It is a center place for joint exertion and improvement. The LHC is CERN's central undertaking, however. It's just a single part of a colossal relationship of gas pedals and spikes. This tune is for subatomic particles, and it's a race towards presence itself. The LHC speeds up protons to essentially the speed of light, sending them on a cap course that mirrors the energy of the universe at the hour of the awesome impact. The effects make temperatures 1,000,000 times extra blistering than the point of convergence of the sun. An enormous wide assortment of magnets manual the protons on their visit, while astonishing cooling systems safeguard the magnets at temperatures chillier than space. These contain 1232 dipole magnets which win the shafts and 392 quadrupole magnets which fixation the bars. Not long previously impact, another prominent sort of magnet is used to press the particles near one another to extend the conceivable outcomes of impacts. The task of CERN is to impact like consolidating two needles 6 millimeters separated with such accuracy that they meet. The accuracy required is astonishing. The progression of the LHC's arrangement is a shock of orchestrating. It sets excessively close with something very similar support point lines that distort. Hidden away 574 feet on a more significant level, saved from the field's radiation, on this underground by and large, the whole edge system is cooled to a temperature of 46 degrees Fahrenheit colder than the vacuum of space itself. This cool environment is fundamental for the superconducting magnets to work. The support preferably centers in the LHC are made to crash at 4 regions across the gas pedal ring, showing up contrastingly similar to the areas of 4 atom markers: Chartbook, CMS, Alice, and LHCb. Each fills a phenomenal need in researching exceptional pieces of particle material science. Collectively, they pass nearly incredible cameras, getting portrayals of those effects. Specialists then, at that point, get out through the garbage, looking through signs of the unobtrusive Higgs boson, otherwise called the God particle, an uncommon caprice sign to the universe's key arrangement. It resembles actually taking a look at a limitless jigsaw puzzle, one in which the parts are dark, and the picture is tricky to handle. By focusing on the microcosm, we acquire pieces of ability into the universe. However, with each reaction comes another sales, and with each disclosure another check. The LHC isn't genuinely a shrewd instrument. It is a sign of human diversion, development, and development. It encapsulates our picked excursion for data and our longing to figure out the crucial forces that structure our universe. However, as we stretch the boundaries of what we figure out, we should besides recollect the moral and existential requesting that arise. What are the risks of analyzing the overlooked world? Ought to our undertaking for strength out of the blue open powers we have zero control over? Control inside the blessed passageways of CERN, in which the CFO points of human understanding are continually pushed. A disclosure has emerged that sends a screen down the spine of even the most composed SE specialists. Brian Cox, a past researcher at CERN and a voice of master in the space of molecule genuine science, has actually made a declaration that has left the area each enamored and stunned. Cox's articulations resonate with a terrible possibility. The objective of CERN's Monster Hadron Collider is to recreate a little gigantic effect. Indeed, you heard that right, a more unassuming than expected sort of the very occasion that presented forward our universe. The physicist similarly ended up causing us to feel the aftereffects of this objective, offering the LHC exceptional limit for making new openings. This integrates its cutoff to open the insider realities of the Higgs boson and besides the appraisal of darkish matter, a substance that makes up a focal piece of the universe. Consider defending the sort of appearance for your float near the capacity to call the authentic substance of the universe. It is a tempting entryway, in any case one stacked with risk. The more subtle than expected gigantic bang isn't definitely a hypothetical idea. It is an amazing truth inside the LHC. The temperatures, the pressures, the unpleasant energy all duplicate the conditions of the universe's hidden shows up at. It is like continue onward on the earliest significant length of recorded history, seeing the oncoming of presence itself. However, with such strength comes veritable responsibility, and the requesting tends as far as possible risk. Consider what's going on where something turns out seriously, something that became out truly extremely back in 1978. The Russian physicist Anat Borsky experienced a calamity that could normally divert his systems of life. In 1978, Borsky became chipping away at the U.S. synchrotron on the Association for High-Power Genuine Science in Ace, Russia. A breakdown impelled his head by the way entering the event procedure for a proton shaft. The support point, with the power that contentions with information, went through his skull, entering the back of his head and leaving through his nose. Borsky's AI saw a streak more perceptible, striking than 1,000 adolescents, yet he had no issues. The characteristics of the help way left a strategy for demolition ingesting tissue and bone. Yet he remained sharp and indeed, even walked around the middle for treatment. The result changed into each sicking and charming. The help concentrate way set off restricted tissue passing, actuating the deficiency of paying thought with respect to in one ear and halfway facial setback of improvement. Anyway, Borsky's educational potential remained in salvageable shape, and he happened with his bona fide business. This occasion isn't doubtlessly a man or lady misfortune, yet a safeguard story that features the huge energy and expected peril of molecule gas pedals. The risks of a molecule gas pedal like the LHC are not to be played with. The breaking point for astonishing reactions, the credible surface of the truth being controlled. These are not the stuff of science fiction but instead ensured pressure voiced by remembering a couple for the instructive nearby area. The versus favored experiences are basic toys as well as units of essential energy. Conceivably the most prominent awful and satisfying nerves related to the HC's tests is the believability of making a more unassuming than anticipated faint void. Weak openings are neighborhood people of spacetime in which gravity is consistent, such a lot of that not even light can sit around idly close their unending vacuum cleaners. The devourers of stars, the secretive parts that cover in the shadows of our universe. That the LHC could make this substance even on a little development is decision for the standard egalitarians and specialists. The equivalent ought to this dull opening grow furiously. In any case, swallowing the earth from inside. Specialists at CERN have ensured that any dull void made would be all in evaporate rapidly. The distant bet has lit conversations, fears, and an energy of superb at the power we join up. Getting a handle on how the LHC's principle ought to make a faint opening. It needs to do with the fundamental mechanics of molecule fuel pedals. While protons are squashed on the opening at practically the speed of light, the power BR is stunning to the variable that it turns the external layer of spacetime itself. Ponder a trampoline broad and tight, and a while later an immensely dropped weight onto it, the surface turns, and it is important to acknowledge the store. Good it could make a oddness so immense that anything close by would be added into it. That is a silly portrayal for what could have to emerge in the LHC in the space of quantum authentic science, in which the thoughts of the universe are both odd, what's more, mind-blowing. There exists a theory that more essential components are most likely stowed away inside our reality. Assuming these parts exist, the LHC's persuasions could need to make use of them, making a gravitational line that frameworks to some degree faint opening. This frustrating dance of flume and some has without a doubt even gotten the notice of a few inconceivably renowned specialists, unequivocally the late Stephen Selling. In his book, He forewarned of a situation wherein the Higgs boson ought to wind up being clashing at incredibly nonsensical energy levels. This irregularity undoubtedly ought to cause an overwhelming vacuum, a vainglorious event that wouldn't simply pulverize the Earth yet the entire universe itself. The English cosmology and astrophysicist, Sir Martin Rees, allowed his own side advantages, generally the assessments driven at CERN. In his modernized book on what's to return, Open-End Entrances for Humanity, he dissected the potential dangers related to particle smasher assessments, which merged those at CERN. His words were not simply a security measure. They have been reached with an energy of existential pressure. He alluded to the most frantic outcome conceivable where a hopeless evaluation ought to make a situation known as vacuum shakiness. This unsteadiness should in a theory trigger a degree progress that would reverberate through the veritable surface of spacetime. The potential outcomes in enormous disaster that would delta the total universe, honeybee. Propensities were not limited to speculative experiences. He serious an open door to those astounding impacts, at any rate a low one. In any case, a little probability he battled ought to give us probability to chance to pause and think and expect the stakes are immensely high, and the edge for blunder is razor thin. The specialists at CERN have chosen the possible risks associated with their tests carefully. They have done different security conventions and reasonable measures to mate any potential wagers. In any case, the chance of canny assessment intrinsically consolidates some level of weakness, particularly while plunging into new regions. The excursion for information has interminably been gotten together with a level of chance, assuming control over the entirety interaction of all that. Working out predictable leap propels have routinely went with startling outcomes. In any case, it is unequivocally this ability to stretch limits that has affected humankind forward. The LHC tends to the FL of numerous significant stretches of reasonable progression and joint effort among countries. Anyway, under its blending exterior lies a space of enormous reasonable interest, loaded with expected potential outcomes and moral contemplations. The collider's central objective of relaxing the special experiences of particle material science has incited striking openness, including the interesting Higgs boson. Anyway, the unprecedented energies made inside its entrances besides raise worries about the potentially antagonistic results of such an endeavor. While wide prosperity measures are set up to moderate dangers, the chance of annihilating occasions like the production of limited-scope dim openings or other unexpected whimsies can't be completely absolved. Hence, as specialists push the limitations of our perception, it is important that they do as such with a huge knowledge of explicit suspicions and straightforwardness, partaking in open discourse with individuals overall and strategy creators. As we dive further into the intricacies of the Hadron Collider at CERN and the consistent endeavors IT addresses, it ends up being continuously certain that the mission for data isn't without its risks and weaknesses. The Hadron Collider, with its unprecedented capacities and potential for historic disclosures, stays as an exhibit of human cleverness and the steady excursion for understanding the group laws of the universe. Anyway, the normal dangers pag on against by tests at the LHC can't be ignored. While the probability of awful occasions might be low, the outcomes could be basic. Hence, it is essential for subject matter experts, policymakers, and the general public to partake in open exchange about the moral and thriving repercussions of such puttigation. Bringing everything into account, the Hadron Collider at CERN is a supernatural occurrence of human virtuoso and wise accomplishment. It offers incredible pieces of data into the principal nature of the universe. Anyway, with unfathomable power comes astonishing responsibility, and it is essential to push toward this essential appraisal with fatigue impression. As we keep on opening the advantaged experiences of the universe, we ought to remain cautious and aware of the potential dangers surmised, guaranteeing that our mission for information doesn't come to the disability of our security and achievement. The Hadron Collider at CERN stays as a demonstration of the permanently set-up mission for information and enthusiasm for the universe. Its enormous size and intricacy address pennies of reasonable advancement and joint effort among countries. Anyway, under its blending exterior lies a space of enormous reasonable solicitation, loaded with likely dangers and moral considerations. The investigations led inside the boundaries of the collider, tremendous foundation, outfit energies and powers that are past discernment for most laypeople. The effect of subatomic particles at almost speeds produces conditions related with those that exist in the earliest depictions of the universe, allowing analysts to test the major structure blocks of matter and explore the real surface of spacetime itself. Yet, the enormous energies related with these influences likewise present gigantic risks, both known and dark. Potentially the most squeezing concerns encompassing the activity of the RON collider is the normal creation of moment-dim openings or other fascinating eccentricities that could have unexpected outcomes. While that is what theoretical calculation suggests, any such dim openings would be brief and address no risk to Earth or its inhabitants. The chance of unexpectedly delivering powers past our control is notwithstanding disrupting. In addition, the sheer scale and multifaceted nature of the examinations drove at the collider require cautious security shows and inflexible oversight to moderate any potential risks. The overall social class of scientists and researchers drew in with the activity of the collider is with the utmost intensity aware of the need to zero in on prosperity and assurance that all tests are driven with the best conceivable degree of wearing and commitment.